As a child, I suffered from a recurring nightmare. I would awaken in my bed, in my darkened room, as if jostling for a more comfortable position. Something would feel off, and I wouldn't be able to get comfortable. Only after squinting suspiciously into the dark would I notice two reddish pools of reflection staring back. They were eyes, I'd realize, set into a tall, broad silhouette leaning around the corner that led towards the bedroom door. They weren't bright, just softly glinting, like stained glass catching the soft strip of light spilling through the cracked bathroom door. This must have been the gist of the dream, for I would wake up in the morning staring for the corner, only to find the lurking shape and its reddish glare had fled the rising sun. This dream was inexplicably vivid, and my memory of it was so acute that I would often wake in the morning swearing to my parents that there had been an intruder in the house. At 10, I was fairly old to be having trouble with imagined monsters, so my fears were firmly put to rest by my parents' explanations. As I became more convinced the red-eyed shadow was a figment dredged up by some dark crevice in my slumbering imagination, my nightmares came less often. Finally, they ceased altogether, and by the time I had reached high school, I hadn't been paid a visit by the shadow in years. Then came the bustle of college, and the move to nearby Lexington for school. My first year was a bit stressful, but nothing impossible. Simple adjustment to a less monitored life away from home. By the time I came back for the summer, I was looking forward to several months of relaxation, free of homework or deadlines. The first night back, I turned in early, stomach filled with home-cooked food and tired from moving all the crap I'd dragged home into the house. My childhood room was barely altered, a relic left untouched to commemorate the high school years which already seemed a hazy memory. I drifted away fast, but sleep would prove to be anything but restful. Around 1, if the dream-projected clock was to be believed, I awoke for the first time in many years. Out of the habit of assuming myself to be dreaming, I took a drink and rolled over. Every sensation seemed mundane, entirely material. Then, by chance, I caught a glimmer near the corner that led from the bed nook towards the door. Again, I was faced by the blacker-than-shadow frame of the looming silhouette leaning around the corner, peering towards the bed, eyes barely visible in the gloom. For what felt like minutes, I stared back, memories being drudged from the depths I'd banished them to. This time, though, the silhouette did something which it had never seen fit to do. It leaned forward, long arm trailing around the wall, and beckoned with a slender, tapering, almost invisible finger. Then, silent as ever, it withdrew, moving away towards the door out of view. Though I could not see it, I could hear it breathing, raspy and rumbling, like a huge bear catching its breath. After that, I don't remember anything. As with the old dreams, I woke in the morning as the sun rose, having no memory of the night's visions past the rasping around the corner. I shared my dream with my family at breakfast, and we had a good laugh at the weird propensity of dreams to surprise us. I had not thought of the silhouette or its crimson eyes in so very long. The fact that my subconscious would conjure it up in nightmare was more shocking to me than the nightmare itself. Then the next night came, and I suddenly wasn't so sure. Again, I awoke around 1, and again the thing leering from the corner beckoned. Once more it withdrew, moving out of view towards the door. That night, I heard the scrape of the door across the carpet, and could hear the dreadful creak of its weight upon the stairs as it ascended from my basement room to the ground floor of the house. Only when I woke to find the door ajar in the azure morning light did I really begin to dread the nights. With my family's initial reaction having been comedic rather than serious, I spent the day brooding in silence over what my open door meant. In the light of day, it was quite easy to try and shrug it off as an absent-minded mistake on my part, a forgotten fluke. Perhaps, I would tell myself, I had left it sitting cracked and my uneasy subconscious had done what came naturally, projecting the looming figure to creep through it in the dark. This rationalization would not aid me when the sun fell and the time came to sleep, though. I ended up staying awake late into the night, an unfamiliar habit to me. I kept my room bright and chattered away to friends until everyone clocked out around 2 a.m. Suddenly, in the absence of familiar voices, the basement room felt cramped and inexplicably hostile. With my mind racing, I resolved to stay awake until dawn, when I might find more easy sleep removed from the nightmare's usual hours of operation. Around 3, I rose from the bed to go to the bathroom, phone in hand, pushing through the bedroom door and across the hall. I did my business, turned for the bedroom once more, and was stopped in my tracks when I opened the bathroom to find the hall black as a tomb. The bathroom light was all that lit the shadowed basement hall, with my room closed and the hall's bulbs having failed. Trying the switch, I found it worthless. Turning on the phone's light, I made for the bedroom, but something turned my head as I passed the stairway to my right. I looked, light still trained on the bedroom door, and froze. The familiar silhouette was outlined by the open doorway atop the stairs. Its eyes shimmered, bleak as ever, and its hand beckoned, outstretched towards me at the base of the steps. Then it shrank away from the door, its plodding feet making the foyer above groan as it made for the next flight of stairs. I cannot explain why, but I didn't move. I couldn't bring myself to shine the phone's beam up toward it, nor did I think to flee into my room. I just stared, watching and then listening in muted amazement, bound in place. Again, I woke in my bed come morning's first light, and again I couldn't explain how the dream had ended. The situation was made all the more unsettling by my discovery that both my door and the door atop the basement stairs were standing open. Exhausted from what felt like a sleepless night, and at a loss to explain the odd dreams in the open doors, I resolved to take a long walk the next night. The moon was nearly full, and the skies crystal clear, so the open fields around my rural town were lit in a cloudless night's ethereal glow. With fireflies playing out their patterns above windswept, almost oceanic-looking farms, it was a peaceful night, a welcome distraction from the shadowy claustrophobia of my room. Crucially, it kept me awake and on my feet as I meandered from road to road, burning time until morning drew near, and I could retreat to my sun-guarded bed. It was near daybreak, with the orange-red haze of the sun breaching the far horizon, that I stepped onto my road and approached the winding driveway up to my house. I was drowsy, and my legs ached, but I had largely managed to forget my nightly struggles, burying them in the peaceful monotony of the walk. All that slipped away when I crunched onto the gravel, and my shoulders seemed to feel the weight of eyes upon them. Reflexively, I scanned the yard, picking out the vague shapes of trees in the rising morning light, but nothing was amiss. There were no intruders to see or animals to worry over. At least, not until my eyes reached the house. Upstairs, in a guest bedroom that had sat lonely and unoccupied through the entirety of my life in the house, a single lamp lit the window. This had always been the case, the window softly glowing through the evening, a familiar beacon to us whenever we would return home after dark. Now, though, its light was obscured. Large and leaning, its gossamer red eyes gleaming obscure through the glass, the now familiar silhouette watched on from the window, backlit by the lamp. This time, I was not frozen stiff. In the moment, I dismissed my earlier fantasies of dream, knowing I could be nothing less than awake in that moment. Perhaps I had drifted off sitting on the bed the night prior, but this was different. I ran, wheeling into the sleeping house and grabbing the shotgun from its high perch in the downstairs closet. I then climbed the stairs, gripping tight to the unfamiliar weight of the gun, eyes on the open door of the guest bedroom. It was empty. My eyes scanned every corner, ending with the space behind the door. I even crouched low, half expecting some glint from eyes to peer back at me from beneath the bed. Nothing bore fruit, and I was left looking at the attached bathroom, also left open. This, too, seemed empty, but it was dark. Moreover, the bathroom's cramped closet opened up into the house's small attic. Even without entering, I somehow knew the door would be yawning wide. When I found the bathroom lights would not turn on and shined my phone's light into the open closet, my suspicions were confirmed. I did not see any glint of eyes in the brooding shadow of the attic, but a noise did reach my ears. It was much like the creaking on the stairs, a heavy weight slinking away from the blackened doorway, retreating slowly and methodically into the deeper shadows of the attic. Suddenly, all the bombast that had driven me up the stairs with the gun in hand fell away. I could not make myself enter, nor could I make myself dart forward to shut and lock the door. I simply backed away, making my own meek retreat down the stairs and storing the gun away, too frightened about what I had seen to be glad about the fact that my run into the house hadn't woken up my parents. That day, I began hopping from friend's house to friend's house around the state, vowing not to sleep in my family home ever again. I've broached the topic of strange dreams or odd noises with my parents every so often, but nothing seems to have ever troubled them. Much as I would like to say this means my experiences were dark, hallucinatory fantasy, I can't shake the feeling that they were much more. I try to forget, to bury the image of that beckoning silhouette in distractions. I try to make progress while the past sinks ever further into memory. There is, though, a persistent dream which still occasionally ruins my sleep, regardless of where I might settle down to rest. Horrible as it is, this does seem entirely tied to the realm of sleep. That doesn't do anything to lessen the impact of it. I'll awaken in my old bedroom, watched by the eyes. I'll follow as the thing weaves through my old house, creaking its way up the stairs. Then it will beckon me one final time in the mouth of the black attic doorway. I have never entered the door in dream. I can never move of my own volition during those nocturnal visitations. When I awaken, though, sweating and shaking, I always feel possessed with a strange desire to return. I'll think, for a moment, that this is a great weekend to visit the family, or imagine how nice a dinner at home might be that evening. I've even gone so far as to get together my wallet and keys for a drive back before halting myself. They might be simple dreams, and the urges to return would be easily dismissed by most as homesickness. I'll never allow myself to give in to that otherworldly pull to visit, though, not if I can help it. I worry that, welcomed through the front door, my wandering eyes would catch sight of the vacant guest room upstairs. It would be open, I know. Somewhere within, the attic door, too, would stand open. Seen or not, a hand might beckon from within, urging me to sleep one final time beneath that familiar roof, and make one final pilgrimage up those creaking basement stairs.